David didn't wake up in the morning and think, oh yeah, that's right, today I get to take out a giant. No, David woke up in the morning thinking, today I need to do what my father asked me to do. Did you hear that? David woke up in the morning reminded, it says he got up early, I got to do what my dad asked me to do. You know, if you want to see breakthrough happen in your life, if you want to see some things change, if you want to see some transformation, if you want to see something great happen for God in your high school or in your life, in your youth ministry, whatever it is that you're facing, let me tell you, it starts by being obedient to your Father. When I say that, I'm talking about your Heavenly Father, but also the Bible's clear about how we should obey our parents. And can I tell you this? I know one young man who was in our youth ministry, and when he became a Christian, his family were not Christians. No one went to church. In fact, his dad and mum didn't really like him going to church. They thought it was a little bit strange, a little bit different. They were happy for him to kind of hang out at the parties, and, you know, they were kind of unsupervised, and there may have been drugs, and people could have been drinking and all of that, but that was kind of normal. But then he started going to church, and that wasn't normal at all. His parents wouldn't drive him to church, to the youth ministry. Had to get there his own way. His parents would not have paid for him to come to something like History Maker. Some of you need to thank God and thank your parents that they pay for you. See, he would have had to save up, and he did, to go on things like this, saved up his own money, worked his own job to get to places like this. His parents didn't care, in fact, were kind of against it. But one day I asked him, his name was Robbie, and I said, Robbie, I'd love you to just share a little bit about what God's done in your life since you've been coming along to youth group. And so Robbie told me a little bit about his story. Given his life to Jesus now is about 12 months. And he goes, you know what, since I've become a Christian, I know my parents don't really understand and they don't let me, you know, they don't help me. They don't drive me anywhere. I've got to get lifts. I've got to work out my own way. I've got to pay for my own things. But he said this. He said, I haven't had a fight with my mum since I became a Christian. And I said, and he goes, in fact, what I'm trying to do is help out around the house more. He said, I even wash Dad's car when he doesn't ask me to. I said, but he won't even drive you to youth group. He said, I know that. I said, you don't have to lie when you get up there and do your testimony. You can be real here. Because I'm thinking this is like, is this real? And he said to me, he said, no. He goes, I wash the car, I help around the house, I haven't had a fight with my mum. And then he said this to me. He said, because I realized that I might be the only Jesus that my parents ever see. In obeying his heavenly Father, he was doing the right thing to his natural parents. And I know there's all different stories here, and some of you have fantastic parents and a great relationship with them. And others of you, it's not so good and it's pretty tough. And in fact, it kind of hurts your heart. But I'm here to tell you that you have a heavenly Father, and He loves you, and He wants to pour His love into your heart and strengthen you. And if you would listen to His voice like David did, like Jeremiah did, we talked about him last night. If you were to listen and obey, you would be amazed at the breakthrough that would happen in your life. David obeyed his father. First step to breakthrough. It says the next thing, David, when he got up early, he looked after, he was a shepherd, he was looking after the sheep. And what does it say? It says that he made sure the sheep had a shepherd, someone else to look after them. I love that because it says to me, if you want breakthrough in big things, you better take responsibility for the small things in your life. If I talk about this young guy, Robbie, he was just taking responsibility for the life that he was living right there. Wasn't waiting for the big break, the big moment, the big opportunity. David had a few little sheep to look after. Would have been pretty easy to say, oh, they'll be okay. I've got bigger things to do. I'm going to the battle. My dad's asked me to go to the battle. I'm going there. The sheep will be fine. They'll be okay. Someone will look after them. No, it specifically says he took responsibility. I think you would probably agree that we live in a day and age where people do not like to take responsibility. We like, and we find it quite easy to blame someone else and, let someone else deal with it, and someone else will clean it up, and someone else will sort it out, and someone else will deal with the mess, and, all the rest. I'm just going to enjoy the moment. Can I tell you, you will never see breakthrough in your life if you live like that. But when you make the choice to say, I will be responsible for what I have, I will take time to look after the things that I have, the relationships, the people, whatever I have in my world, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm not going to blame someone else. I'm going to take responsibility. God's blessing comes. I don't know how it works, but I know that it does when you take responsibility for what you're given and you honor that. Even in the most smallest, mundane little things, God sees it, He honors it, and it will lead to big breakthrough.